I'm going to do a video on how to make a motorized bicycle reliable because so many people have issues keeping them running. And I'm going to use this bike because people don't take me seriously. They see my other bike and they laugh or they think I'm retarded or I don't make sense. The other bike's the best bike. This thing's sitting up on a shelf in the garage above the height of a fucking washing machine. You get it? It's chilling up here where it belongs because I could ride it, but the other one is great for riding. Anyways, I'm going to show you exactly how to make it reliable. It's free, okay? The major issues when you're first putting your motor on, you're going to have to get motor mount issues right. Everyone's different. Like, look how close mine is. It doesn't touch. I'm hitting the kickstand if you want to know what the noise is. But anyhow, on here, on the motor mounts, you're going to want to adjust those every time you ride it more than 5 minutes. Every time you ride it for like the first month, if you ride it every day. And if you want to get carried away, you're still going to have to tighten them because things are breaking in and the metal's cheap. It gets like, it bends in basically. Put two nuts, put another nut on here, and make sure you use the washer and the lock washer. They give you those for a reason, but still, these will come loose. Your head bolts will come loose. Don't get carried away with torque sequences. That's irrelevant. Just don't over tighten it, and I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's like a spark plug. Either you're brain dead or you're not. Go in an X pattern, you know, and do that when you're first breaking it in, every 20 minutes. Check your spark plug every 20 to 30 minutes for like the break-in period. So the first 2 tanks of gas. And after you break in the motor, I would still be checking the heads, the motor mounts, and the intake and the exhaust every 100 miles because that's the thing. And on these, if you have studs or if you want to put studs, you can double nut these as well. But I don't want to recommend any kinds of Loctite or whatever you guys use, but you could put these in with Loctite if you know how to secure it and you know it's not going to come loose and it doesn't matter if it comes off like me. So that's what I've done here with the exhaust. This bike I'm not going to have to maintain. It's not going to have baling wire and zip ties holding it. Like, I made this bike to look cool and ride good. This thing, stock motor, barely broken in, easily goes over 40 miles per hour. I love the bike. The hookworm tires are great. I love those. They're my favorite. And it's just one of those things, I ride it ever so often, but my other one is like my commuter. I ride it around, go get groceries, jump curbs with it. But those are the major things I would say is tighten your exhaust. If you have studs, put 2 nuts on it, 2 different nuts. So it'll be a lock nut, and that'll probably never come off because people lose their exhaust all the time. And for me, I take off the bottom just because it's louder and it runs much better. You get more torque out of it. It just all in all makes the motor run better. Some people say not to do that, but intake bolts come loose. They're a hazard. Also, this, I didn't even mention that, this bolt, this little screw on the other side, that's your intake, and you don't want any leaks there. You want to get your carb as close to this as possible, and they do all right. Everyone complains or they try to put silicone in there. Don't even bother doing that. It's people overthinking something extremely simple. Head bolts, intake bolts, exhaust bolts, and motor mount bolts. Those are your 4 points. If you can keep up with those, you're going to have a bike that runs forever, basically. That's the only thing. And if you tighten these sprockets properly, they never come loose. Tighten those properly with lock nuts, they never come loose. So you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever if you follow that simple advice. I'm just trying to think of anything else that's real simple that people forget. That's about it because those are the major things. Everyone loses their exhaust. I've seen so many guys lose their exhaust. I see people riding around, their head is almost off the motor. The spark plug's like vibrating. It's like shaking in place. It's just those are the major issues. And I tell everyone to not use this fuel line because it gets hard. This is only like a year old, this kit, and this is brittle. It's literally brittle, and it's been inside. This, same amount. This is just fuel line from the auto parts store. Perfect. I love the way that that came on this bike. If anyone hasn't seen this video, this bike cost me less than $200 to build. And it's like legit. Man, I love this bike. I'll probably take it out tomorrow just because I've been fantasizing about it. It's like wall art. The cheapest and the best. Real Schwinn, straight fork. Runs great. I only got the black motor because of the color. I could have got a motor for $79 or $75. I paid like $92 for this motor. I couldn't find a cheaper black one at the time. Sometimes you find the deals. But also I'm in California. Sometimes the deals don't exist there for some reason. We have different rules and bogus stuff. But these motorized bikes can be very reliable. Once you get those things fine-tuned, and you're going to have to adjust your chain too. But once that breaks in, like I never adjust my chain. It's going to be like all for the first 500 miles. All this for the first 500 miles, and you're going to, if you can make it through the 500 miles, your bike should be good to go. And then ever so often you're going to have some issues. But I figure most people don't even make it through the 500 miles. They get so disheartened and they get beat up because the bikes are breaking. They break all the time. But yet I've never blown the motor. My other bike has the original piston. Nothing's up with it. You know what I mean? Like you can ride the hell out of them once you get past the hazing period.